Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today is a very special episode. We're bringing on Dave Gentry, and he's the CEO of RedChip Companies, Inc., and also author of Small Stocks, Big Money. And this episode is part of our DealFlow Discovery Conference, where we bring you the best of those that are attending and going to the DealFlow Discovery Conference, which is going to take place in Atlantic City at the Borgata on January 28th to 29th. You can learn more about that at DealFlowDiscoveryConference.com or the DealFlowEvents.com webpage to get tickets and all that good stuff. Dave, welcome to the show. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so it's good to have a pro like you on this show. I know you've been covering small cap stocks for decades, and you've worked with thousands of companies. So it's good to have you on. I know you're also a seasoned guest. Been on shows like been on Bloomberg, CNBC, you name it. I know you've been there. So good to have you on Mission Matters. And we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So Dave, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, for executives, for experts. That's what we do. Dave, what mission matters to you?
As regards to RedChip, our mission is to, again, amplify the stories of our client companies to the capital markets, targeting small cap investors, institutions, analysts, brokers, RIAs, family offices that position in and buy or put coverage on small cap stocks. So that's our mission. Been around for 33 years, represented companies like U.S. Steel, Perfumania, Celsius. So we have a very long and rich history. We started as a research firm in 1992, an independent firm. And in fact, we put coverage on Apple at $1, believe it or not, and Starbucks at about $7, and companies like Winnebago, Daktronics, et cetera. But today we are a full-service investor relations and media firm.
That's amazing. Love bringing mission-based individuals on to share why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and really what we can all learn so we grow together. So great to have you on. Dave, I'm curious, man. So how does it feel like, how did you originally get into the business and get interested in small caps? Just really briefly, I remember I was in finance for almost 14 years, haven't been in a long time now, but there was always these certain people that were hovered around and that I knew that they covered small cap stocks. They loved it. They were interested in the stories. And there's a certain type of person. How'd you get like into the small cap side of things?
That's a long story. I don't have a finance background. I actually have a master's in education. I've been in politics. And after I lost my election in 96 for a U.S. House seat, I was a Republican nominee, but I lost the general election. I got a job in Orlando with an IR firm. And back in, boy, that's been a long time, maybe 1996 or 97. So that's how.
And what attracted you to small caps? So, I mean, a lot of different things you can cover, by the way, obviously. There's a lot of different routes you can go with your skill set in particular. Like, what attracted you to that space?
Well, actually, it wasn't something I was attracted to. It's something that I got a job in and then began to, after working with small cap companies for years, began to really love it. So, these are emerging growth companies that have new technologies, innovations, and these are the companies that really are the grassroots building America, right? Some of these companies will become very large companies, and they get their start many times as a small cap. Again, even Apple was $1 when we put coverage on them. So, yeah.
And so there'll be two different audiences watching this. So many of them will be the people that'll be attending the DealFlow Discovery Conference that are, heads of companies that are small cap, be a lot in attendance. And then obviously there's the general investor. I'm always curious about that ability to communicate their message as a company, as a CEO and as a founder, and the importance of that to investors and investor relations and even just the general public. Could you speak on that a little bit?
Well, that's a great question. And it all begins with the messaging. What is the value proposition of the company and how do you communicate that? And we developed a national media platform a couple of years ago in which we write and produce and air 30-second TV commercials on National Fox Business, Bloomberg, strategically on CNBC. So we were able to craft and message the company, believe it or not, in 70 words in 30
Wow.
seconds. And the impact that we've
That's hard,
seen.
by the way. Hold on, I got to stop you there. That, what you just said, that's the hard part, though. It's easy to make longer form content to tell a long, drawn out story, but to get it down to 30 seconds into that few words, like, that's a challenge. Like, people don't understand. How'd you come up with that for? I have to stop you there for a moment. Like, how'd you come up with that?
Well, first we looked at our industry, and most of these small caps are trapped on what I call the small cap or the micro cap circuit, right? They're seeing the
Mm,
same analysts, the same conferences, they're seeing the same fund managers, same brokers. And we looked at, and we've always had a deep expertise in video and video content.
mm,
And we said, look, let's start writing 30-second TV spots. And again, it's 70 words. And over the last couple of years, we've perfected it. And so,
mm.
I wish we could show you one. We can't right now. You can go to our website and see them. But what
Yeah.
we found is that, when Charles Payne's show is on Fox Business, there's 130,000 investors watching, right?
Hmm.
So we innovated this product because we said, let's go to the biggest audience possible of professional investors in
Mm.
one setting. And so it's not easy, but
Yeah.
there is a skill set. But having, our company having represented thousands of small cap companies, we know how to message. We know what resonates.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. It's a great story. And I want to talk about your show as well. So, in the platform overall. So, your book, the show, Small Stocks, Big Money. How'd that come about? How'd the idea for this come about?
Well, that's a great question. So the honest answer to that is, we were heavily representing Chinese companies back
Mm,
in the early 2000s, right? And as it turned out, a lot of these Chinese companies, that whole industry for small
mhm,
caps, the banks and everything, there was a lot of fraud. And in fact, so we were heavily invested in China at that point. We had offices in 2010, 2011. And we decided to get out of China. And
mm,
most of our clients happened to be Chinese companies back then, whatever that is, 13 years ago. And so I decided to write a book, and I decided to start a TV show because I wanted to sort of build a new paradigm for RedChip that would sort of transcend this, what we were doing in China. So
mm.
that's the honest answer. And so, I've been in the business a long time, and the book is interviews with some of the biggest players, entrepreneurs, fund managers in
Mm.
small cap stocks.
Did anything surprise you after you? I just know I've interviewed hundreds of authors, and there's always something like after the book is released or otherwise. Did anything surprise you along the way after you released the book and you created the
Well,
book?
that's interesting. It's a great question because, I interviewed some of the biggest players.
Yeah.
Phil Frost is worth billions. John Papajohn, who
Mm,
passed, but it's worth hundreds and hundreds of millions. Very smart people.
mm,
And, you know, what I found is, hey, as good as their investment paradigms are
yeah.
and their formulas and how they rate a company and decide to invest, in small caps, you can be wrong as many times as you are right.
Yeah.
And so, really in my career, it relates to my book, and all those people that I interviewed in the book would say the same thing. Like, look, I've met the best companies, the best business model, the best management teams,
Mm,
and for one reason or other, they failed. So,
mm,
there is no perfect investment paradigm out there. No one
yeah.
gets it right all the time, and that's what you'll learn from the book. At the same time, you'll learn a lot about how these very sophisticated, very, very successful investors in small cap, how they view companies. And one of the major points that stands out is by far, every one of them in their investment paradigm,
Mhm.
the management team is critical. The CEO, who's running the show,
Mm.
who's the jockey.
Yeah. That's great. And now did the book, which came first, the book or the TV show? That's like chicken or the egg. I don't know. Which came first, the book or the TV show?
That's a great question. Great question. I think it was almost around the same time.
Okay,
And
got
so we've
it.
had the TV show for, oh boy, 10 years.
Yeah. And for
And
the
then on the
show,
Bloomberg network, it airs every Saturday, 7 p.m. national Bloomberg TV. It's not a Bloomberg show, it's our
Mhm.
show, but it's been running for almost 5 years on Bloomberg every Saturday at 7 p.m., half-hour show. We interview our CEOs, sometimes a fund manager or an analyst,
Yeah.
but very, very big following on that show because we're the only small cap show that airs, every week at the same time on the same channel.
That's awesome. And for the show itself, talk to me about the format because I definitely want my audience to go check it out. Like, talk to me about the format and what takes place.
So it's typically a 10 to 12-minute interview
Hmm.
with the client, with the company. And there are several sort of fundamental questions that we ask. One is, what is your business model? How do you make money?
Hmm.
What's the essential value proposition? Why should investors invest in your company today? Obviously, what are your near-term, mid-term, long-term catalysts? And it's just a back and forth, interview in which we want to teach investors about their company.
Yeah. And is there like two companies typically featured, three? Like what's the
No, just one company at a time.
got it. So one
But on
company
the
every week.
show, well,
Yeah.
no, I take that back. Sorry. So no, on the show we'll feature typically two companies on the show. Sometimes one, but most of the time two.
Hmm. Awesome. And are you going to be, I believe I heard you correctly earlier in the warm up, there's going to be interviews taking place at the DealFlow Discovery Conference?
So we'll have our hosts there. We'll have a studio set up, and we'll be interviewing the CEOs of the public companies and private companies that are participating in the conference.
That's awesome. I love the live in-conference experience. I feel like you get different content, like from the CEOs, everything, the people that you're interviewing, there's different energy there. What do you like about the in-person kind of thing at conferences?
Well, I've done hundreds and hundreds of conferences, and
Yeah.
frankly, I bring a whole team in now, and
Yep.
and occasionally I will go, and it's just great to see your peers, and to meet new
Hmm.
people, and break bread together with clients and those that sometimes become clients.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, Dave, this has been great having you on today and getting to know more about your platform and also getting to know more about RedChip Companies. That being said, if people want to follow up and they want to follow you, they want to follow the company, the shows, what's the best way for them to connect?
Just go to redchip.com and sign up for our newsletter. It's free, comes out weekly. We also have a product called Red Chat. So it's our own AI product for small caps, in which you can ask any question, any company, 2 billion and under market cap on the NASDAQ or NYSE. And you can ask any question: cash, enterprise value, management, what phase they are in clinical trials, whatever. And that it'll give you answers in seconds. It's more accurate than Chat GPT. And we built it in-house. And again, it's called Red Chat. So you can sign up for our newsletter at redchip.com and sign up for our small cap app.
Fantastic. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so that you can click on the
Right?
links and head right on over for sure. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, be sure to hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Yes, you heard me correct. Daily, each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So hit that subscribe or follow button. And don't forget, the DealFlow Discovery Conference is taking place on January 28th and 29th at the Borgata in Atlantic City, New Jersey. You want to be there. RedChip's going to be there. All the other individuals that I've interviewed on this series will be there as well. And you need to be there as well, too. So check it out, the DealFlow Discovery Conference.com. And Dave, man, thanks so much for coming on. Great having you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.